We welcome viewers to today's investor update, where we are joined by Big Akwa, who are currently commencing an investment round to garner capital to develop their new fish farm ran by industrial energy waste. Joining me here on stage is CEO Helena. Welcome.
Hi, my name is Helena and I'm a proud co-founder and CEO of the Swedish food tech company Big Akwa. We start with the little film and then I invite you to investment round and go through with you our presentation. Can you bring the process and the food industry together? Sure, why not? Coming from the seafood industry, I strongly believe that enjoying a locally produced, fair-priced, sustainable fish shouldn't be privilege based on where we live.
I love creating new industrial food tech concept and being a part of ongoing transformation to a circular society.
With 30 years within sustainable growth, I see great potential in Big Akwa. I'm passionate about sustainable solutions for critical social challenges. The need for a healthy and a robust food system is urgent.
With over 10 years of experience in food tech, I want good food now. We need to accelerate sustainable food production. Our solution is fish farming based on industrial symbiosis with process industries, where the waste of one becomes a resource for the other one.
In all process industries, there are residual products that are simply wasted. Mostly heat. Heat contains energy, not usually harnessed by industry. Big Akwa's concept is to buy the residual heat from the processing industry and use it to refine residual products that arise from fish farming. In a hydrogen plant, economic waste occurs in the form of both heat and oxygen. That gives us even more opportunities. Big Akwa can buy and use the heat to maintain the right temperature in the fish water and the oxygen to oxygenate the water. And there is more. Further business can be achieved by using the oxygen and heat to produce single-cell proteins, which can be refined into animal feed. The waste heat can also be used to dry the fish's feces and residuals from slaughter to make both fertilizer and animal feed. Since the green hydrogen is made from renewable energy, in this case wind power, carbon emissions from the rainbow fillets, fertilizer and animal feed is reduced to zero, fossil-free and sustainable, all the way from fish farming to consumer, and entirely produced in Sweden. Big Akwa's concept can therefore be described as not only sustainable but also with great productivity and competitiveness.
We want to revolutionize the way we produce food. Industrial symbiosis is the future, and we will lead the way. So what we do in Big Akwa, we develop a circular aquaculture projects. We focus on the waste streams from the co-located industries to turn them into resource for the fish farm. And we also work with the fish farm waste. We are focused on sustainable, locally produced fish that is good for the people and for the planet. And by using circular approach, we improve environmental footprint, we decrease production cost, and we create a new billion food industry for Sweden. Do you know that fish doesn't need to fight gravity? Fish doesn't spend energy to warm itself up. So for 1 kilo of dry feed given to the fish, you would get from 85 to 90% in protein growth, where with animals raised on land, coefficient is not the same. So fish can be the key to feed our growing population. But if you look at developed countries like US, UK, or countries in Europe, we are so far away from self-sufficiency in fish. Why is that? because traditional fish farming pollutes the environment, and we have very high environmental rules. We import 65 to 70% of our fish supply. If we look at Sweden, the situation is even worse. We consume more than European average. We consume from 28 to 30 kilo per person annually. EU average is 24. But we produce in Sweden only 1 kilo. For the same simple reason, traditional farming methods pollute the environment. The outcome, we are less than 1% of Norwegian aquaculture, and we are 5 times smaller than Danish. To solve the problem, Big Akwa comes with industrial symbiosis. Our innovative processes enables us to utilize the waste of co-located process industry, for example hydrogen, and take their waste heat into the fish farm, take their oxygen into the fish farm to oxygenate the fish farm water. And then the fish farm is also refined into fertilizer or single-cell protein, therefore closing the loop and creating net zero farming concept. Our business model is to put in operation land-based circular aquaculture projects. The mother Big Akwa company developing the project, preparing business plan, finding the location, securing the land, developing technology, blueprint, and also receive operational permits. Upon the operational permits receival, the project goes to the project financing. Right now we have 2 projects in the pipeline. One will go in the project financing already in the end of 2025, and another in 2-3 years from now. We expect a turnover of 100 million euro in 10 years from now from these 2 projects. The concept is fully scalable, and you can put the fish farm anywhere the process industry is, in Europe, US, or in the rest of the world, where there's a high demand for sustainable, locally produced fish. And it's the company strategy to develop a multiple aquaculture projects. And now we zoom out a little bit on the first project. It's 6,000-ton rainbow trout farm to be built in the middle of Sweden at Ånge commune, Alby Industrial Park. We call this location as a hotspot of the hotspots. It has one of the cheapest electricity prices in entire Europe to be located as SE2 zone. All electricity is 100% green. It's a hydro and wind power. It's plenty of land with possibility of expansion. It's located nearby 5th biggest river, Ljungan, in Sweden. Using the technology of free solution that also has lowest energy per kilo of fish produced, it gives us a very beneficial cost position. We are 20% lower in production cost than our German competitive. So sustainability is not a luxury, it should be additional value proposition. And here's the capex of the project financing. The first farm capex is 80 million euro and 7 million in opex. And due to the strategic location, we are able to apply 20% of grants on the capex side. Expert credit nämnden and banks will support the debt financing of 60%, so only 20% will be in the equity. In total, we are looking 27 million euro in equity plus 10 in escrow to put on the balance sheet an asset of 90 million euro. And here's a timeline upon the operational permit receival, so already in this year. The construction phase is going to be activated, and the construction goes through 2026 and finish in Q3 2027. First small turnover in the end of 2027 and full capacity from 2028 and onwards. The revenue is above 40 million euro with EBIT 47%. And here's the financial rounds in the mother company where we develop the projects. For the last 3 years, we raised 30 million kronor, a little bit less than 3 million euros, And we will focus on the investment round 4, current investment round. The total budget is 1.8 million, where 0.7 million euro is a grant. So the equity round we invite you investors is 1.1 million euro. As I mentioned before, upon the operational permit receival, the daughter company start the project financing. And the good news that the first construction round that would happen can be also financed by the Swedish company Vinka. So we see it as a funding opportunity of the round 1 and construction. And now we invite you investors to become an owner with the strong influence, investing from 50,000 krona up to 3 million krona in our last pre-construction round of the project 1. The money is going to be used to activate construction phase, develop blueprint, and verify technology for the project. The company evaluation is built on 68.4 million krona pre-money evaluation, and the round will be finished in the 3rd of March 2025. Last 2.5 years, we have tripled the company value and target to double it again next 12 months. And this slide shows why. 12.8 million would come from the investment round and equity, and upon the KPI achievables, 30 million in environmental permit, 10 million in technology, and 10 million in blueprint. That would bring the company value to 130 million within 12 months from now. And by investing in our company, you invest in the growing market, you invest in the right in time concept, food security and food safety on the radar. You invest in the company with scalable technologies. Fish farms can be put anywhere the process industry is. The project has very large environmental impact. It aligns with 8 out of 17 Agenda 2030 goals. It has very large carbon dioxide emission reduction and will recycle up to 1 million cubic meter of fish greywater. The company is with the proven concept. We are already on land with the first project, and also we have a very strong team who've done it before. And you as an investor has a multiple flexible options to exit the project within 2 to 4 years from now. And here's the team behind the project. Hugo Wikström, founder, visionary and strategist, multiple successful startup founder. Eva-Lena Blomqvist, PhD within sustainable development, was named as one of the most influential sustainability people in Sweden. Head of Rice Research Department for more than 10 years, helped IKEA, Volvo and other companies with grant applications for 100 million kronor. Daniel Brännström is focused on construction of the fish farms and greenhouses, has a good experience in legal work and also construction phase. Jesper is joined the company recently, 30 years of experience in the finance sector, both with startups and large companies. And myself, I'm from the seafood industry, where I worked all my life. Last 20 years, I used to run quite large seafood companies as CEO, producing a lot of private labels and branded to the seafood for the leading retail chains, Tesco, Auchan, Metro. And here's a little bit about our awards. We were proud to represent Sweden at the COP29 Climate Summit and been in the final of the Young Companies Green Challenge competition there. We were named as the top 50 the most influential startups in Scandinavia, been Swedish Impact Maker, Company of the Year in the region. And all that is saying this idea of the locally produced sustainable food is supported by many. And now I thank you for your attention. Look forward to tell you more about Big Akwa and to answer your questions how we can build a new food tech industry for Sweden. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Jelena. So, Alby Industrial Park, the hotspots of hotspots, as you mentioned. When looking for locations, was that the only sort of candidate, or were you looking at others, and how did they compare?
Oh no, we had to scan whole Sweden, whole industrial partners, see their timelines, see their land, see what is the best synergy, what is the best match. And we came to the Alby because both partners are constructing in the same timeline. The commune is incredibly friendly and so motivated to be service orientated. So I think that's a wonderful place for the first project. It's happening now and everybody is doing it. Huh?
I scanned it a little bit on Google Maps. There is a lake nearby, but otherwise it's literally, as you said, in the middle of Sweden. One would expect a fish farm to be a little more closer to the ocean. Am I correct there, or how?
Well, I mean, you're right when it comes to the aquaculture at sea. But we are building a land-based fish farm, so 99% of the water is recirculated. You have a little river or dammon that is going through the site. That's enough for us, so that is the first step to take the water there. And then we also expect when RES is coming with the operations, just a couple of years after us, we take the water with them from the Ljungan.
And as I understand it, the whole industrial park is still in development. When it comes to industrial actors in the area, what sort of plans are in works? What sort of industries can we expect there?
Yeah, that is a wonderful idea and a national pride for Sweden, what is happening there. RES is the biggest in the world renewable energy company, and they put in their hydrogen plant, and 2 months ago they announced that it's going to be further refined to sustainable aviation fuel. So they already bought 20 hectares of land out of this 50. Big Akwa need 8.5, 9, and we are buying it soon as we get operational permit. And then the thought is also to bring greenhouses and few more operational partners that can work synergetically, utilizing the waste of each other and producing sustainable products. But what is important to know from the operational point of view, we have to also dwell on the standalone concept, and that's why we were so focused on beneficial cost position. So it's a live animal, so we can't depend on the other partners. So industrial symbiosis is an extra benefit for the shareholders. But standalone concept should be profitable enough, competitive enough to bring this high quality, sustainable fish on the market.
And tell me how this system will sort of work in terms of legality and partnerships, etc. When you talk to an industrial partner, I don't expect them to give their waste for free. How does the agreements happen?
Yeah, that's a good question. Right now we have strong LOIs between us where we intend to exchange the waste and utilize the waste. But what happened with the process industry, it's normally release a lot of low-grade waste heat in the atmosphere or in the rivers, but it can be used to warm up fish water, so fish is growing faster in the controlled environment. Normally it can be a little charge, but the intention is to give it almost for free, and what we will have to pay is just for the piping and connections. And we probably talk also to the government if they can support this kind of thinking, where we can improve environmental footprint together.
6,000 tons of rainbow trout. How much energy is needed to sort of support that, and will there be enough in the current pipeline of all the industrial park?
It's 2.4 kilowatt per kilo of fish produced, but electricity is one part. Electricity is the second biggest, or energy is the second biggest expense after the fish feed in the system. So waste heat is important to warm up fish water, but it's more important how do you work with waste. What is happening now, the waste water is going into sewage, but it's a source of nitrogen and phosphorus. So you can produce fertilizers, single cell protein, you can grow vegetables on it, and for that you need the waste heat to dewater the fish sludge to the kind of powder. You can't do the powder straight away, but first step of dewatering with the waste heat is possible. That's how we are going to utilize it. RES is the biggest in Europe project, so it's a lot of waste heat, and moreover 250 meters away from the park you have a chemical production of AkzoNobel nylon factory, so they also have a lot of waste heat, and we have talked to them, so that is also a possible source of the waste heat that exists even now.
In the video we saw a 3D model of how this might look like in terms of pipelines and different refineries, fish farms, etc. Is the sort of vision here to create, as we call in Sweden, a self-playing piano when it comes to these different parts of the system, or how does it look like?
That's a dream, and that's how we would aim it. I mean, of course, the farm, as I said, it's a live animal, so it would have reserve generators, it has reserve oxygen tanks, so if it is a shortage or maintenance, it's always it's a non-stop stream of the resources that is needed for the animal well-being. But yeah, it's going to be connection with the heat, it's going to be connection with the oxygen, and then on the downstream waste is going to be a refinery to produce value-added products.
We saw estimated revenues, but I'm curious about production. As you sort of see production starting in the end of 2027, will you be able to do it fully as soon as it starts, or will it scale, and how so?
Yeah, I mean, fish has to grow, that's the thing. So that's why, despite we start in 2027, we can't produce all 6,000 tons. We have to wait till the fish is reaching a bigger size. So the first production, because we start in the middle of the year, would be only 1,450 tons in 2027, but our aim is to go to 6,000 tons in 2028. And the system itself is 7,000 ton system, so we have a little gap to develop little by little, step by step, to improve it even further.
I don't want to enter into speculation, but after reaching 7,000 tons, would you potentially want to expand to maybe 12,000, do new fish farms, or what is the long-term vision?
Yeah, the long-term vision is to establish fish farms in the multiple locations. We start with rainbow trout. It's a very strong species. Price development is fantastic. We have a very good breeding history in Sweden, and that's why it's rainbow trout. But in the other places, we have verified technology between paper and pulp industry, how to combine fish farm next to the paper pulp mill. And technology is verified with the Swedish giant. It's again a very strong industrial partner, company SCA. So right now we are looking for location and analyzing different options. So in 2-3 years from now you will see another project, and there's a big European institutions are really interested in that kind of symbiosis. So it can be a greenhouse, it can be fertilizer, you can grow different types of fish, you can use different technology depending on what kind of land and what kind of resources you have there. But the main thought is that we have to change the way we are producing commodity, and industrial symbiosis is the future to do it. And that's why environmental footprint and impact is so large, because it's not a new product, it's something that we eat 2-3 times a week.
And in terms of technology, do you only expect the symbiosis to be able to work deriving that energy from the pulp industry, or are there other industrial industries that you would want to explore?
You can use with different process industries on the upstream waste, like with oxygen, with waste heat from different industries. It's not only paper and pulp or hydrogen release that. On the downstream waste, there's also different utilization, like with forest industry. You would just feed the fish grey water into their biopurification stage. So it's their bacteria are eating nitrogen and phosphorus that is in the fish sludge, and they don't need to buy chemicals to feed their bacteria. Here we have fertilizers and single cell protein. Single cell is a future feed. It's doubling the biomass every 10 minutes. So for the feed grade component, it's a future product.
Then current project, current pipeline 2027, there's still ways to go. What could go wrong in the current timeline, and what are you doing to sort of prevent that?
Yeah, it's a big project, and of course the timelines can be changed, but so far we haven't met large obstacles. But we have worked with the environmental permit for 2 years. Now we are in the final stage where the government is looking at it, but public hearings went well. Completing our additional documents request was not that complex, so we will see what they say, but we see also feedback that we need more sustainable food in Sweden, and everybody understands that, so everybody works with us. But the timelines can be a few months here and there to realize these kind of projects, but we don't see it as a big issue. And we worked very hard with the project financing, and we have potential investors in there, and that's also due diligence process can move the project here and there, but so far it went very successful.
And in following and keeping updated with the project, but also the technologies, are there any studies in the current pipeline, or what does it look like?
Yeah, I mean, what the mother is doing is developing multiple technologies in the waste refinement. So we have verified technology how to combine fish farm with the paper and pulp production. We are developing a fertilizer with very large player Econova, and we are using large grants for that. We have applied for the grant for single cell protein development because we have successful technological findings in the first step. So the mother would own multiple technologies on the waste and move them down to the project financing depending which technology is needed for that or that project.
I want to talk about the financing too, because you're currently in your fourth investment round and you seek to raise close to 21 million crowns. But I saw that the capex requirement was 80 million euros. It's quite a difference there. Will you require more financing rounds moving forward?
It's a very good question, because we have to really make it clear. We are raising capital for the mother who is activating project financing. Project financing happens in the daughter company. It's going to be financed by the banks, by institutional, by Instra funds, by aquaculture funds. So it's nothing to be with this current round. Here we have VCs. We are 19 investors. Alby Invest, which is the biggest VC firm, is with us, investing in every round, really happy with us. We have Swedish also people and companies that have passion for sustainable food production. And that's how mother develops. A mother would generate revenue as soon as the project financing is activated. It would charge for the work done, the daughter company, so the mother would get the payback as soon as the project financing is realized. So the mother doesn't need that kind of big money, but the project financing, it's a heavy capex project, so it's going to be banks, expert credit, it's going to be grants, and also aquaculture funds and VC farms.
With mother, you're talking about Big Akwa Holding?
Yes, exactly. That's the mother company.
Yes.
And then it would be project Big Akwa Alby, Big Akwa Forest, and the other projects.
And what is the long-term vision for Big Akwa Holding?
We are not going to own 300 farms, so as soon as the farm is operating well, we will try to sell it. We have talked to the number of industry partners who is interested to buy the farm, when it's a lot of vertical integration happens in our industry. So we have a number of potential partners who wants to be a part of the farm and fish farmers. So you can sell the farm and develop the next one. It would be easier and easier.
Thank you very much, Helena, CEO of Big Akwa.
Thank you so much for your time and questions.